If you're a guy seeking long-term committed partnership, but you've been struggling with dating and the relationships you have been in have repeatedly failed, then this video is for you. I'm going to tell you what you've likely been missing and the steps you can take to actually get towards what it is that you're desiring. Healthy, committed partnership. Hi, my name is David, co-founder of Sex.Prayers Academy, where we teach you everything you need to be able to enjoy healthy relating. For those who are currently single, we have our Pillars to Partnership program, where we take you on the journey of developing into the person who doesn't chase the partner of their dreams, but attracts the partner that they deserve. And for those who are already in partnership, we have our Partnership to Prayers program, where we teach you our sex prayers rituals, everything you need to be able to manifest the life that you desire through your sexual connection. But I digress. This video is about the last answer polarity conversation that I had, where this person expressed that their past partners have struggled with emotional vulnerability. The guys that she has been dating haven't been able really to keep up with her as she's developed on her journey, learning the tools to be able to communicate effectively her boundaries and her desires, her ability to develop into having more healthy relationships, to be able to master her emotional well-being so that she can show up in full strength and full empowerment within herself, create the safety that she needs to be able to navigate the complexities of relationship. And the guys, they're falling behind. They're struggling. They're not wanting to step into the emotional realm, the vulnerability that comes with embracing emotionality. And I get it. I've been there. I was there myself. It took me a long time. And I think part of the challenge is guys just aren't, and I'm creating a majority here, I'm generalizing, that it seems on average men just aren't as adept or have much of a proclivity towards emotionality as women do. And this speaks into the idea of tantric teachings. So in classical tantric teachings, which I've been studying the last 5 years, there are different layers of consciousness, one of which is the mental emotional layer. Yes, mental emotional, one layer. It says that emotions and thoughts aren't separate. They're not two distinct aspects, but they're different sides of the same coin. They're different ends of the same spectrum. Now, at one end, we have the more logical, linguistic, mental end of the spectrum, and at the other end, we have the felt, emotional, somatic experience of emotions. And the fact that they are the same layer of consciousness, two ends of the same spectrum, opposite sides of the same coin, is the reason that you can't have a thought without a feeling or a feeling without a thought. They're intertwined, they're inextricably linked. Explicably, but are extricably linked. And the thing is, with this idea of duality, the world appearing dualistically, these infinite pairs of opposites. You know, we have left and right and up and down and good and bad and male and female and masculine and feminine. This idea of Shiva and Shakti, the masculine essence and the feminine essence, which comprises every individual, have the capacity, the ability to express the dualistic nature of the way that reality expresses itself, although it is non-dual, at least in this school of teaching, this idea of non-duality, that all there is, was, and ever will be is this one universal consciousness, this consciousness that expresses itself through an infinite number of pairs of eyes, that we are all just individual waves on the one ocean of consciousness, that we appear separately, but actually underneath it all, we're all just that one expression, that idea of one verse expression is what we are. However, this idea of duality, things appear in the polarities. this idea of masculinity and femininity, the energetic, and male and female being an expression of that. Everything in Tantra is simply vibration, and things vibrating at a different rate and for a different length of duration. That the expression of masculinity and femininity as male and female is just a vibration of consciousness and an expression of a physical body, which has an oscillation of about 80, 90 years, a lifetime, if you will. But the energetic of masculinity and femininity comprised within us is expressed through the entire spectrum in different fields, in different arenas, in different ways. We get to express masculinity and femininity in a number of ways as we navigate life. And if we ascribe the quality of masculinity and femininity to emotionality or emotions and thoughts, then we can label thoughts as a more masculine expression and emotions as a more feminine expression. And just for shorthand, this isn't to say that thoughts are male and that emotions are female. However, it does seem that men have more of a tendency and a proclivity, a leaning towards the intellectual, and women by nature have a leaning towards the emotion. We have the ability to express both, but a leaning towards one or the other. And it seems women's ability, adeptness, emotional mastery, perhaps part of the fact that emotions are just energy. They're a somatic experience, energy in the body, chemical response, if you will. And as women have more of a sensitivity to the chemistry, the chemical nature of their hormonal cycle, they have, by nature it seems, more of a sensitivity and an ability to navigate the complexities of emotion and manage them more effectively than men, it seems. And even then, we haven't been educated on how to do that, even women, effectively. And it seems that women are being or gaining more education in this, gaining more emotional mastery, and perhaps have an advantage because they do have more of an affinity towards the emotional. Guys, then, without putting in the work, without putting in the effort, are falling behind because they're perhaps at a disadvantage in multiple ways. One, not being as biologically gifted in the realm of emotionality, but also societally not encouraged to embrace the emotions that they're experiencing. This person that I spoke with is of Latino descent, and in that culture, men aren't encouraged. She even expressed that her previous partners, their fathers specifically, don't encourage emotionality, don't invite them as men to be able to explore, experience, and express their emotions in a healthy way. And this is often what we see in society. Guys are only allowed to express their emotionality in very particular, specific scenarios. This is why sport is so powerful for men. It's really the only place they're allowed to express their emotionality, crying or anger because of the sports team that they follow. Another area is perhaps in relationship and sexual exchange. It's a very emotionally charged area, emotionally charged experience. And being able to express part of that is part of that beauty of that experience. However, again, men haven't been encouraged, haven't been educated on how to do this, and they're at a disadvantage perhaps. And it seems that, at least from this conversation and others that I've had, that women are starting to get a little bit frustrated and tired and apathetic towards having the tools, being open to sharing them with men, and men not being open to receiving them, possibly because they're not allowed in their culture, in their society, or even, just as men, to express emotion. There is not the space for them to learn how to deal with their emotions in a healthy way. That men aren't equipped in male social groups how to manage, hold, and deal with each other's emotions, let alone one's own, and then transfer that into a relational container. They're lacking the ability. But also, men often aren't allowed to admit a vulnerability, to admit that they lack something, they're unable. It corrupts their masculinity and how they're viewed as men by the feminine, or even by other men. And so how do we change this? How do we create a space where men feel safe, guys, where you feel safe to be able to explore your emotions and know that it's actually what women want. They want a man, not who's overly emotional, but who is capable of expressing and owning and mastering their emotions, because in being able to do that, it demonstrates to them as women that this man, that you as a man, are a safe space for them to be vulnerable, to open up. And this is, in the 30 plus conversations that I've had with women on this topic of trust and safety, so many times I've heard the feminine desire to be able to fully surrender and be held by the masculine. And is this not the physical expression of love that we experience through sexual exchange? The woman, feeling safe enough, is able to open her body, open herself to receive the power of the masculine, the presence of the masculine, because he's created a safe enough space for her to emotionally surrender and physically and intellectually and spiritually surrender. For us at Sex.Prayers, sexual exchange is a spiritual, or can be perceived and experienced as a spiritual practice. It is a divine union. It is an expression of godliness, this idea of the power of sexual energy and sexual exchange, the ability to create life. You cannot get more God than that. And whilst sex can be enjoyed and enjoyable, and I hope that it is for you, often people see it as a pleasure experience, but don't see it as a power experience. The ability to harness this sexual energy, this energy that is godlike and can create life, and use it to manifest the life that you desire, to put that energy into good use rather than letting it drain away and be wasted. And this is partly what we do in Sex.Prayers, in the education piece, in the Pillars to Prayers program. Too many P's. But in order to get to that, guys, if you're watching and if you're listening, you're thinking, how do I learn to embrace emotionality and feel manly and feel okay with that? This is why we created the Pillars to Partnership program, where we teach everything that we have learned and we have discovered is required to be able to enjoy healthy relating. We break it down into 4 easily digestible pillars. The first being truth, being able to witness what is true for you. In Tantra, there's these ideas of samskaras, these mental emotional scars or impressions that get imprinted onto our subconscious at a very young age often, but also in other areas and times of life, on how to behave. We behave often through our programming. It's said that at any moment you have the ability to choose how you respond to a given set of circumstances. That at any moment you have the choice to abide by your unconscious programming or choose to show up in presence. But oftentimes we don't know this because we're not guided and taught and educated on how to actually self-reflect, to be able to navigate through the layers of false narrative, false stories, false constructs, and get to the heart, the essence of who we are, to then build up the truths that we want to hold so that we can show up in relationship, show up in life, show up in love in a way that would serve us best. And this is why it's foundational, it's why it's pillar one. Without it, being able to then create trust within oneself or with another, or be able to communicate effectively or empathize is going to be really challenging. And those are the pillars. The second pillar of trust, with that fundamental nature of truth, being able to trust how it is that you do navigate, because you can trust that even when you let your unconscious programming run, it's programming that's been installed consciously by you or with us that is supportive in the way that you want to navigate life, want to navigate complexity and relationship. And then communication. This is what this person shared, that in her partnership or previous partnership, the ability to communicate just wasn't there. That she alone wasn't taught how to own her no. That she wasn't taught that a no needs to be clear and owned and embodied. It needs to be trusted. And this is one of the things I say at Sex.Prayers is, and even in our partnership, if I can't trust your no, then how can I accept your yes? That's so fundamental and part of communication. And why it's so valuable in partnership to be able to communicate what's going on with you in a way that's going to be received. Accepting a no, knowing that it's not a rejection, but a person saying no to you is really them saying yes to themselves, and being able to deal with that in a way that can be digested. And oftentimes what's challenging is, well, I have this energy, what do I do with it? And that's why we teach you. And empathy, being able to recognize, and this gets into the non-dualistic nature of reality, that you are me and I am you. That we are all just different expressions of one another, looking at ourselves through these different eyes, different vantage points of one consciousness looking at itself through the unique expression that is us. And in understanding that, we get to enjoy the yumminess of relating. But it's not easy. It's challenging. It's taken me 10 years and tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache and heartbreak and self-analysis and rebuilding to be able to get to where I am right now, to be able to enjoy the partnership that I have in a healthy, constructive way. And this is why we are endeavoring to create and share this Sex.Prayers Academy and Sex.Prayers practice and everything that we've learned condensed down, so that you don't have to have the decade-long and tens of thousands of dollars worth of education or trial and error. There's a quote that I like that says, we can shortcut life by buying the mistakes of others. And I totally get this and agree with that. That yes, you can learn to do all of this stuff by yourself. And maybe you can do it in 10 years, but maybe it will take 20. And maybe it will take hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the most valuable asset that we have, valuable commodity that we have, which has our attention. How much attention are you willing to put into doing this over a period of time, and at what cost? Or can you shortcut and learn from the mistakes of others who are open and willing and wanting to share with you the mistakes they've made so that you don't have to? So if any of that was valuable to you, if something has connected, it sparked something for you, you're wanting to know more, you're curious about the Pillars to Partnership program, then I'll leave a link in the description. You can check that out. If something resonated with you, then let me know in the chat. I'm always curious to hear from you. I want to develop this community. I want us to build this community. Our spiritual vision at Sex.Prayers is harmony. Harmony within oneself, harmony within partnership, harmony within the collective, and eventually global harmony. If you can contribute to that by either sharing some of your reflections, or if you're a woman watching and listening and wanting to contribute to the conversation around trust and safety in relation to men and the masculine, if you have something to share, then even a single voice can make a world of difference. The more conversations we have, the more connections we can make, the more harmony we can bring, the more safety we can create. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, from speaking with you and connecting with you. Have a beautiful day and see you soon.